Awesome. So, Michael, brother, my dude, welcome to the show. I'm super stoked you're lending me some of your time today and you're going to share your story. So, thank you very much coming from your lively, colorful, and very impressive. And I'm a little jealous, like your studio. I love your setup. So,
Oh,
thank you
thanks,
very
man.
much. Thank you very much. You're very welcome. And yeah, man, take us through kind of before we get into it, like your journey starting from kind of post-secondary and that kind of time frame. Start us from there, bring us all the way to where we are now, and then we can kind of go back full circle.
Yeah, man. I'm just gonna talk and speak about my shit. And if you want to interject and ask questions, because
Works
if
for
I
me.
leave if I leave stuff in between, you might get confused. Just smack me in the face and ask questions.
Perfect.
I don't mind.
Perfect.
Yeah. So post secondary, man. Like fuck. I feel like I'm so old now that I don't even know what happened post secondary. Yeah. I guess like in high school, I kind of was like the chubby kid who turned somewhat athletic.
Nice.
And in my like I was more athletic in grade 9 into grade 10, but then by like grade 11, 12, I got into a kinesiology course that was offered at my high school. So I took that and I was like, oh, this is pretty dope. Like we learned just basic kinesiology stuff. I
Yeah.
already enjoyed biology from grade 11 and grade 12. So I'm like, oh man, like let me apply to human kinetics at the University of Windsor because I hadn't like nothing else to do. I'm like, man, like I hate school, but like at the time, that's what you do. You go to university
Yeah.
or college. So I applied to human kinetics, not really knowing if I cared about it or if I was even going to get in. And I remember I think you needed like an 82% average just to apply. And I had a 79% average going into that.
No.
So I'm like, fuck it, whatever, just apply. I don't really
Yeah.
care. And then I had some like, like business of commerce things that I applied to. Anyways, needless to say, I got accepted to all three programs that I applied to.
Let's
So
go.
suck on that.
Let's
So I
go.
so I chose human kinetics and it was a fucking sweet program, man. Like it was because I was always into sports, athletics,
Yeah.
and then the biology science element of that was just something really cool. And I got to sort of dabble in training more so on myself because I was working out for a couple of years already, and
Mhm.
I'm like, you know what, like let me see if I can get a job at campus rec. So at the University of Windsor campus rec, right where I was sort of doing my schooling, they had like
Nice.
the track, they had the gym, all that stuff. So I got an interview with one of the managers there, and I actually got hired as a I think it was called like event setup or something like that, where I was setting up for all the basketball games, all the football games. So I would literally drive around with go-karts, not go-karts, golf carts, and like put like all the cones and the flags and whatever needed to be done for the
Damn.
varsity games, which was a
Yeah.
really sweet thing.
Mhm.
And I did that for about a year, and then I saw a posting at the university gym for a personal trainer, and it was a Camp Fit Pro at the time. So I took my Camp Fit Pro. I'm like, man, this would be a sweet job. I like working out. I'm already in human kinetics. Makes kind of sense.
Yeah.
I ended up getting a job, my certification that weekend, which was a joke. Then I got the job because I knew the manager at the campus rec,
Let's go.
and the rest is history, right? Like I pretty much
Nice.
spent like 3 to 4 years at the university just training Gen Pop and some of the varsity athletes. And it was just a fun time back then because back then I almost wish I could go back and relive it just to see how it would feel compared to today. Because
Yeah.
there was no social media. YouTube was just coming out. So anything that I wanted to learn had to come from either books that were published or from like seminars.
Oh, wow. So you had to like actively learn. You couldn't just listen to a video or watch a video. Wow.
No, and like YouTube was just coming out, and Facebook was like brand new as well, right? So it didn't really have that same thing that it has right
Yeah.
now. So it's kind of, dude, I was writing my programs on this like cardstock that had like exercise sets, reps, like it was like it was like
Jeez,
rudimentary,
dude.
but kind of cool at the same time.
Yeah, no kidding. That sounds, yeah, that does. That sounds really interesting. I like that you kind of built up those skills for a few years. And
Yeah,
everybody I find I talk to when it comes to anybody who starts, and we'll get to like kind of how the business and how that kind of got started in a second. But I
yep,
found anybody who's made anything, whether it be in fitness or any other industry, especially, always has those like secret, like they didn't just go, oh, one day, oh yeah, I've done this for a year and I think I could start a business, and it turns out to do well. It's like, no, they have like a handful of years, like they have experience, they've been working out, or they've done this, or they've done this. So I always like hearing that little bit of like secret, oh yeah, so I've done this for 5 years, by the way, as a job. And now it's like, oh, well, we thought you just picked it up, right? Because of like what you were saying, you're like, social media only really took off in the last handful of years. So seeing what everybody's done is like, you don't actually get to see the beginning stages. So we see all these overnight people turn into something. You're like, oh, they're doing all this stuff. It's like, yeah, but what about those thousands of hours that they put in? Like, where are those? We don't see those, right?
No.
So it's cool to hear that you did that for like 5 years, four or
A
five
good
years.
example, well, a good example of that is my buddy Tyler Ray, Project Pure Athlete. I'm not sure if you know Project Pure Athlete, but he's one of the world leaders in jump training, and he was doing like so, and he's pretty big online now, but he was doing like so he was a professional dunker. He went through the varsity University of Windsor track and field, and like he was a really good athlete. Started dunking anyway, so like he was doing like 10, 15 years of personal training, his own training before he blew up online in the last like 5 years. So
Mhm.
like people don't blow up overnight that quickly. It
Yeah.
takes years before they develop any type of following or skill
Mhm.
to do that.
Yeah, no kidding. And I like that a lot. And what I want to know though is like, take me through kind of at the end of like a few 4 years, like it was after your degree. When did you decide, okay, I'm going to open up something, or how did that transition kind of fall into
Yeah.
place? Like, take me through that.
Yeah, so I was 2008 is when I graduated, and I was like, man, like do I take time to like do I go into like exercise physiology and do a master's in that? Because I actually loved exercise phys. It was awesome. I'm like, do I get a master's in that and see where that takes me,
Hmm.
or do I continue being a personal trainer? And I wasn't a big fan of school to begin with. So I'm like, I don't really want to go another 2 years of school. And
Yeah.
at that time that I graduated, there was this brand new health club that was opening up like that September. So it was like I graduated in April. In September, this new gym was opening up, and it was like supposed to be like the best of the best, very um, like large scale health club. Like because back 2009, there weren't that much here other than like a Good Life.
Uh,
So I got the job there as one of their trainers, and like they promised me a lot of stuff. Like it was supposed to be like a really good salary and all that stuff. But then I ended up being there for 3 years after I graduated from 2009 to 2012. And like it was okay. It wasn't my vibe. It was kind of more of like a ritzy, posh type
mm,
gym. Clientele was good. Like I met some great clients there that I still have today.
no kidding. Nice.
But it was yeah, it's been sick, and I met some great relationships through that. But it just wasn't my vibe, and I wasn't really getting along with like the owners, and I had my own thoughts and opinions about fitness at the time. So I remember making a decision saying like I'm not making that much money here. I'm not really getting fed any clients. I got to do my own marketing anyways. Like why don't I just open up my own spot? And I always had the idea in my mind to have my own spot eventually. Even when I was working at the university, I was like, oh man, it'd be so dope to have my own training facility.
Yeah.
So I did a business plan back in 2011, spent a year with my mentor going through the business plan. And then like the rest is history. I opened up my first location, which was like a 1,400 square foot facility called Sweat Personalized Training Solutions. And it was a small little kind of boutique studio that did one-on-one private training and small group training. Um,
Nice.
and then I did that for about 3 years, and then I'm like, okay, I need a bigger spot. And at the time, I was a big like DeFranco. I'm still a big Joe DeFranco fan, but back then it was like you need the warehouse, right? Like you need that type of
Yeah,
vibe.
man. Yeah.
We ended up getting in 2014, ended up moving into a 5,000 square foot warehouse, which was fucking sweet, man. I had all the squat racks, I had the turf. It was a really
Let's
good vibe in
go.
there. And I built a pretty successful local training facility that catered to like Gen Pop. I had, at our peak, we had like 3 full-time staff, including me, that were coaches. We had, over 120 members. Like it was a well-oiled machine. It was doing well. But then like business is tough, right? Like I was inexperienced with business.
Mm.
I like, like my leadership skills weren't there. I was developing them as I was going. So it was just like a lot to manage because we were growing really fast.
Yeah.
So I had like one trainer quit on me. I had to fire another trainer. So I ended up taking all the responsibility of all the coaching again. So I was doing 40 hours of coaching, and so like it just became a big operation for myself. And then I'm giving you the Cole's Notes version. And then from
Yeah.
that, and then in 2019, just before the pandemic, I ended up moving to a new location, which I'm not sure if you knew. I don't know if you were following me, but like I gave it up. I let go of it about 2-3 months ago. I got rid of it. But I had a really cool like 2,000 square foot facility with all the graffiti, and it was a cool little training facility. But the pandemic kind of fucked that shit up. So I let that
Yeah.
go a couple of years ago, and I've transitioned to the online. So like I went from having a local facility business called Sweat Fitness and Performance to then branching off and rebranding last year into Common to what you
Mhm.
know right now. So a
Yeah.
bit of like a long history of evolution.
Interesting.
Yeah, there's a bit,
Damn.
and like, and that was a Cole's Notes version of what I did. There was so
Mhm.
much in between that that almost seems like one big blur.
Dude,
One
what
big.
wow, that's a lot. That sounds like what I'm curious to know from that time. Take me through that rebranding. Like what made you decide, like was it like you said, like the COVID, the way that kind of impacted? Was that like, okay, maybe having crazy space isn't the best way to do this? How are better, like how did you decide to kind of shift more of a focus to online and rebrand? Like take me through the steps to kind of why that
Yeah,
process came about.
the why was really personal for me in the sense that like I had enough of what I had built in the sense that like I was known as the sweat guy here in my town, and like my identity was
Yes.
the sweat guy, and I had the gym, and that's just who I was. And when I chose that name, dude, I was like 25 when I opened up the gym.
Yeah.
I didn't really have any meaning to me. I didn't really have any. It was just a really cool sounding word that you would say, "Oh, sweat." It's kind of brandable, right?
Yeah, it's catchy.
So it didn't really have much meaning, and I always had this idea in my mind that I still can't really pinpoint what this idea is, but I see it out here, and I try to, um,
Like conceptualize it
I
and
try to showcase it through what
yeah.
common is right now, and I still can't do a good job of that. But so I had this really idea, but I had to fit this norm of like, hey, you do group fitness, you have Gen Pop, yeah, you can make your brand a little bit edgy and cool and whatever, but you still have to follow what the market really wants, which is like the high intensity slash CrossFit slash strength conditioning slash whatever class you want to
Yeah.
call that. And it just got kind of like it wasn't what I wanted as a fitness brand. And so when the pandemic hit, I'm like, man, like this is a really good opportunity for me to actually do something that I really want with my business,
Hmm.
which is more to create like a global brand. And I always had this, and maybe this is just me being uh 1/10 of what Kanye West is. Kanye has this big ego, right? So it's like, he wants to change the world. So I maybe have like
Yeah.
1/10 of his ego where it's like, man, like I believe that I can do something really big here. If
Oh, for sure.
if these motherfuckers, I can swear, right?
Yeah, do your thing. Fuck, it's your
If these
episode.
if these motherfuckers can build a big brand, like why
Yeah.
can't I? Like it's that's how I kind of am. So
I mean,
it was
seriously, yeah,
part
why not? Yeah, why
right
not?
like
Right?
so it was partly being kind of bored of what I was doing, kind of like the status quo of this business. And then I also kind of went through a breakup right during the pandemic with my ex that I thought I was going to settle with, and I say settle because that's what I did. And I
Oof.
decided to be like, man, like my life isn't going where I thought it was going.
Hmm.
Thank God, looking back,
Yeah.
let me just fucking like change everything completely. Let me just, and I always wanted a fresh take on my business, right? I never worked with a brand agency. I always did all my branding myself. So either like the name, the logos, I did it myself. And one thing that I had a tough time with was taking the concept of what I had in my brain
Yeah.
and put it out into words. So I spent pretty much 6 months prior to launching Common with a brand agency from Toronto. And we had like weekly meetings, and they like took everything that was in my brain and they came out with Common, and they helped
That's
me
insane.
unleash Common. And it was the best thing I ever, because it was almost cathartic for me because I kind of went through my own journey through the brand strategy and all that stuff. So it was just a really cool way to express myself through it. and so it was more of just like, hey, what kind of life do I want to live? Do I want to
Hmm.
live the working 40 hours a week of coaching on top of my business and then being a facility manager and owning a brick and mortar, or do I now want to take the rest of my life and build something iconic and and live my life the way I really want, which is to experience things and to make memories and to share with people that I love.
Hmm.
And Common is going to be my, like, as I grow Common, I grow myself. It's almost like an extension of who I am, and
Wow.
it's like every time I level up, Common levels up. Every time Common levels up, I level up, and it's just like
Right. It grows
we
together.
rise together. And so I'm hoping one day that I can achieve my highest goal, which is, I don't know what it is yet, but it's almost like it's a
What's the vision? Sorry, because I find with singular goals, I find they're very, very tough to conceptualize for people.
yeah.
And even for myself, I almost don't. I have daily goals, and I think daily goals are created with habits. And I think I just I go, what do I want to do? Okay, let's make that vague, and then or very specific, and let's go, all right, attack it every day. If there's something I'm doing, like it could be whether it be the show and whatnot, or like with jujitsu, or work or whatever, but it's going each day. It's like, okay, well, have I done something to help Common today? Yes. Have I done something to help me? Yes. Is that each going to contrast with each other and it's going to blend well? Yes. Even better. Okay, done now. Where do you see the vision of it? Like, where would you like to see like the vision, like the 10 years, let's say,
Yeah,
with that?
so
Like,
so
what's
the,
the big?
the 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 end goal is to impact everybody in this fucking world to live life to the fullest. We're all about finding your meaningful pursuit in life. I
Mhm.
just want people to wake the fuck up, figure out what it is that they want their life to be, and chase it. And it's a very vague
Yeah.
statement, but through my Rebel series programming, I make people feel good about themselves intrinsically.
Hmm.
Through my streetwear brand, I want them to wear my shit because it's gonna make them look really cool. And when they
Hmm.
look really cool, they feel really cool. When you feel cool, you want to do some badass fucking gangster shit. So it's
That's
like
it.
I'm literally doing what I do, but I want to showcase it to I want everybody else to do what I do, essentially, right? I want people to just feel the way I feel. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm always positive and happy and successful or whatever. On the contrary, I struggle a lot with a lot of stuff.
Hmm.
But I'm like, if I'm just an ordinary guy that can get up in the morning and dream the dream,
Hmm.
everybody else can. And I know we have different circumstances. People have like legit serious issues and
Sure.
whatever. But like at the end of the day, I'm here to inspire people to wake the fuck up and figure their life out. Because how many people are living a life that is very monotonous? They get a job just because it's got a good paycheck. They marry
Hmm.
somebody because they have to, and like I was kind of going down that route with the business and also settling with my ex, whatever. So it's like now it's like, no, man, like now, like what can I achieve by putting myself out there? Not
Hmm.
not the persona, not what I want people to think I am, but like who am I deep down inside and how can
Yeah,
I
man.
showcase that? And that's one thing that like me and Stu talked about that yesterday in our podcast. It's like I'm sick of pretending to be some, because like not to get into the nitty gritty, fuck it, we're gonna get into it.
Yeah, do it,
Like
man. Do it,
being
please.
being bullied my whole life, I
Hmm.
always had to be a social chameleon so that I could be accepted, whether it
Yeah,
was
so
through
you're
friends,
being what they want you to be, depending on who you're with.
right?
Yeah,
Same thing with like girlfriends
for
and past
sure.
relationships. It's like you're always trying to like be the
That's the
fixer, be the
worst,
it's exhausting, man. And then
dude.
and
It's
then you
so
lose what
draining.
and I'm like, this is so the reason why I chose to rebrand in a nutshell is so that I can say fuck you to everybody
Hmm.
and just do me.
Let's go.
Hence
Amazing.
why hence why I use only rebels, because only rebels to me means like rebel against yourself, like say fuck you to all of your negative thoughts, say fuck you to like the social constructs that you place on yourself. It's like life doesn't have to be what everybody else does.
Right. Right. Wow, dude. I think what I've found lately, because I've tried to do a bit of a shift in the last 5 or 6 episodes, that I've done kind of by myself. And the one thing I found with a lot of the feedback I'm getting is, and I watched this video a while ago that kind of made me touch on this a bit more and like kind of drive my content, for lack of a better term, toward that's just such a trendy word, right? So
Right.
I try not to use it, even
Right.
though it's exactly what I'm talking about. But anyway, so I try to put the content, not so much, ooh, I'm an expert, or this is what you should do. It's, this is what I did, this is what worked for me. But I think what people get misconstrued with that way of thinking is they think when they talk about me and what I did and like my story and my this and me that, is they think by doing that they're being selfish or they're not focusing on the audience, which I think is not true. I found when I'm doing it and go, this is what worked for me. It's like, how do I deal with my anxiety? This is what works for me. It's not clinical. It's not clinically proven. It's not, I've done my research so that I can bring you the information, but I've also lived it. So it's like, I know what it's like to go through, whether it be, like you said, like shitty breakup, when,
Right.
how to get out when you feel like you're settling. And you should, like, this isn't the end all be all answer. This isn't the one solution fixes everything. This is what worked for me. We're all different. But if there's something of these 5 things I'm telling you that might resonate with you, amazing. And then you've added to that mission statement of, I want to inspire people to just be the best versions of themselves and live their best version of the life they want to live, right? So I
Yeah.
think that's what I've kind of found, as it's like, we have to remove the thought of like the preconceived notion of we're being selfish if we talk to people with this attitude of, this is what I did, me, this is how it worked for me. It's like, that's not that bad. It's like, I want to hear what worked for you, right? Because if everything you're saying is true, I can then relate to you. And it's hard to relate to somebody who you're pretending to be.
And it's tough to drive content when you have to put a persona, because
It's exhausting. It doesn't work.
instead of just putting out a podcast and being yourself and using that as content, you now have
Yeah.
to like construct this like persona. And what if you don't feel good one day and you need
Yeah,
to like,
man.
I don't know, it becomes super cringe. So
Very, dude. That's the perfect word. It's horrendous to watch.
you know,
Like,
and
it's
that's
so
why I kind of
bad.
like, I sometimes take a step back and I look at fitness as an industry online on social media, and I'm like, because like really I'm a sorry, I'm a fitness brand. I'm a fitness and lifestyle brand, but it's like, do I want to become the same person that does another tutorial on lat pull downs and leg press? It's like, that to me is boring.
Yeah.
That's not going to inspire anybody to do much other than maybe help the nerds get a little bit more nerdier in their setup. You know, like
That's
people
it.
can learn that through my programming if they really want.
Yeah.
So I try to take more of a inspiration type way into my social media, or into like a, I don't know, like, this is just a cool vibe. People like cool vibes. I'm
Yeah,
attracted to
man.
cool vibes.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't anybody else be attracted to that?
And I think what I actually wanted to point out to you, going through watching like older videos and kind of seeing like how you've shifted, because now I'm going to go back and watch like a few and be like, oh, based on like
Awful.
the 5s, and be like, oh, from here. Because people would ask me that before I get to, because I did want to give you a compliment, but I want to say this first. People would ask me that, like, dude, like, how do you feel listening to your voice when you listen back to shows? And I'm like, the first few were hard, but it was for one main reason, was I was trying to be somebody I was not. I was worried about what other people were thinking about how I would sound, how I would act, what I would say. And then I got to a point where I said, well, in my head, I'm like, oh, nobody's watching or listening anyway. I could say what I want and be who I am. And then that, as I've done that, the show's progressed. So it's like, the positive I get more feedback, I get better feedback, and the show does better. So it's like weird. It's almost as if that works. Who would have thought? But what I wanted to say to you is, like, in terms of your videos and how, like, first of all, clean they are. So if anybody doesn't know, so Michael's videos are probably some of my favorites to watch in terms of, I know a lot of people in the fitness industry, as you can imagine, a lot. And the people who do videos, I believe they come across as you're talking about. And this isn't to be negative, but they come across as, look at me, look at what I have, look at what I'm doing, look at what I've done. Whereas I can clearly tell what your mission is with your videos and like the message you're trying to drive home. Like, you're very, very you. Whereas a lot of videos, I feel like they're just Okay, and deep breath, and yeah, what's up, everybody? So we're out, and like, all right, relax. Like it's a turned up version of themselves, whereas yours, I'm like, oh, this is you on camera, off camera, on the phone, walking down the street, going to get your 17th cup of coffee for the day, like whatever it
18th,
is,
but
right?
yeah,
You're like 18th, bro. But
yeah.
yeah,
Thanks for
so
that, man. I
yeah, dude.
appreciate the compliment. That's one. You said it right. It's like I'm gonna put myself out there, whether I'm going to the mall to buy a pair of sneakers, or if I'm going to Starbucks to get a cup of coffee, or if I'm
Yeah,
meeting my
man.
mom for lunch. I'm gonna be the
Mm.
same person. And even my mom can't stand that I swear on the podcast, and
No, my mom can't either.
she's like, I wish I
Yeah.
could listen, but you're swearing every other word. And even like she'll follow me on Instagram, and she's like, Michael, you should stop swearing on your
Yeah.
post. I'm like, well, technically, mom,
Fuck
you're
you.
the one that's swearing because you're reading it. I'm not swearing. So, but you have to
Oh
put that
man.
aside and say, man, like this is just what I
Oh, that's
am.
funny.
And so like whether it's and I hope to put more videos out there, and I kind of want to impart more because I sometimes forget that I have all my experience that I accumulated over the last 17 years, and I
Mhm.
still think of myself as the beginner novice trainer always. And I hope to put in more training videos and maybe like some educational stuff down the road,
Mhm.
but with my flair, with my creativity,
Yeah, man.
because like I'm a fitness brand. I still want to add some type of value, but I'm trying to take like a bird's eye view to what's happening in the industry. I don't want to be a optimal nerd. I don't want to be a biomechanics with a skeleton in my hand.
No.
Let's just vibe, man. Like let's just fucking train hard and vibe and see where that takes us from a result standpoint.
Nice. My what I was curious about is where does your, and we touched on it a bit earlier, but I want you to be, if you can, more specific because I'm
Yeah.
curious. Where does the clothing brand and lifestyle brand, like where does that align with the goals of like the fitness and the coaching? Where how does that like pair?
Yeah.
Is one just like to supplement? Like is the apparel just to supplement the gym, or is it like kind of its own entity and they're kind of like in each version of you? I'm curious how that all relates.
Um, how can I explain this in a good way? I love looking good.
Nice. I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
I and not from a vanity standpoint. I
Sure.
just feel really good when I look good.
Yeah, man, of course.
And when I look good, and I hate saying it sounds so fucking stupid and shallow saying this,
It
but
does, but like it's
you know
hey
what I
man,
mean?
it's if it's who you are and it's what you mean, just say it, right? Like
Like
I feel the
when I
same way.
like
So
like when I'm wearing a good fit and I'm in the gym, I can PR way better than if I'm wearing the dumbest clothing.
let's go.
So if my whole mission is to inspire people to, because like all we really have in this life is like we're driven by a nervous system
Mhm.
essentially. It tells us when we're tired, when we're hungry, when we're horny, when we're
Yeah.
frustrated. Like it's pretty much like we're very primitive. And so we're driven by emotion and nervous system essentially, right? We think we're logical, but we're really not logical. Maybe like 1% of us is logical. So why why not use that to your advantage? If you know that wearing a pair of Jordans makes you feel really good about yourself intrinsically, and
Hmm.
that makes you go to the gym and you feel better about yourself because you went to the gym and you improved on yourself in a productive, positive way.
Hmm.
And what if you go home and you have a good meal because of your good workout that you had?
Yeah.
And then let's say you're married and you're not a douchebag to your wife because you're in a really good mood. And then your wife is in a good mood because you're not a dick to her because you love your life. And then she goes to work and doesn't become that fucking, I'm not gonna say the word, but I'll say
We
bitch
all know.
instead.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Right? See you next Tuesday. So,
That's
right?
it.
So like it just ends up trickling over and over and over to like more and more
Yeah,
people.
man. It's a ripple effect.
So like that's why I want the clothing brand. So to bring it back into the clothing brand, like I want people to look good. I want people to go to the
Easy.
gym, and
Simple.
I kind of want to cross fitness attire apparel with streetwear, with going out. And like I'm not a Gymshark fan. I won't wear the Lululemon. I don't fit well with them.
Mhm.
I don't vibe with it. I
Yeah.
want to wear really cool, dope fit streetwear.
Nice.
and that's where like and I've always had I always loved like the creativeness of self-expression and art and fashion, um uh and it just, I don't know, it's fun. It's a creative outlet for me.
So speaking of that, I've been thinking about this the whole time since we started about 40 minutes ago. Tell me about that poster painting behind you. The
Well,
Mona Lisa on
I
shrooms.
yeah, so I painted this when I was in Rome.
Get out of here. You
Kidding, I'm
painted
kidding.
that. I was like, amazing. Tell me more.
So I bought this at HomeSense, FYI.
Ah, amazing. I was so
So when
invested in that story. I was like, what?
I know, right? I should have went with it, man.
Oh, dude.
Man, this would have been the best podcast episode ever
I would have
for the
clipped it and
audience.
put it everywhere. We're talking about like being ourselves, and you just go this
I
three
know, right?
hour
Just
long BS story. I'm
right.
like, yeah, tell me more.
No.
Amazing.
So dude, I'll tell you the whole story because I think it's a dumb story, but it's kind of cool.
I
It's
love it.
me. I when I moved in with my ex back in like early 2019,
Hmm.
I ended up selling all my, so I had a condo myself, and so I ended up selling all my furniture and I rented out my condo to my tenant. And then I moved into my ex's house. And then when we broke up, I had to move back into my condo, so I didn't really have any furniture, so I had to buy it all. I bought it right when the pandemic hit, so like everything was like back ordered. Luckily,
Oh yeah.
I straggled some stuff. Anyway, so I went to
Nice.
HomeSense with a couple of my friends, and they were girlfriends, like girl slash friends. Like they weren't.
Yeah.
I didn't have two. I can't even handle one girlfriend. Imagine having two girlfriends. So I went with two of my girlfriends. That sounds
Yeah.
so whatever. Anyway, it sounds retarded. I went with friends that were girls, and I'm like, man, just help me pick out some stuff. And they know like my creativity, and
Yeah.
so like I bought like the cool bar cart that's in here, all the skull little stuff. I ended up
Yeah.
spending a fortune at HomeSense, and I'm like, oh, I
How
need
much you
this.
spend, dude? What? Give me a rough number. If you don't feel
It was
comfortable,
probably like a
don't tell
couple
me. But
grand. It was a couple grand.
wow, right on. Uh,
And it was so,
Jeez,
it's
man,
so dumb.
that's so funny.
And but I'm like, no, man, like, yeah, I'm single. I want my place to look really dope. And then I'm like, oh
Yeah.
man, like this is cool. And again, like I've been very artistic. I love art since a kid. All I did was draw on color and shit like that. So, I just love art, and that's where I take my creative side for like the streetwear and also my graphics and
Yeah.
the branding. Like I just have a affinity for it. So I
I
bought this
love
at
that.
HomeSense,
Yeah.
and I hung it in my condo when I just sold my condo actually. So I brought it here in the studio, and I had it hung over my bar cart. My bar cart had like these cool like psychedelic skulls, and anyways.
That's wild, man. Jeez, I was when I was in Edmonton in May to record two shows. It was the Edmonton Oilers were playing I think it was the LA Kings, and it was game 7 in Edmonton, and we were there.
Cool.
So my buddy who I was staying with, because we were training, he like he fights out of this gym. And so I went up to train with him for a few days and get a couple shows in. And the Saturday night, he's like, dude, we're going out, we're going to this place. I was like, cool. So do we go out, and after the whole game, after Edmonton wins, everybody's going off. It's about 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night. And I remember us going to his old roommate's house where he's like, dude, we used to live here. Like I used to live here. And I was like, all right. And so super cool woman, amazing. Very, very, I guess, creative is
Yeah.
the word. Very, very sweet. I just I wasn't prepared for what I was about to walk into. And I'll send you a few videos after, but it was
Yeah.
like 3-dimensional, like paintings with clay and like all these crazy lights and these streamers everywhere. And they're like naked 3D
Wow.
paintings everywhere of like these avatar looking people. And I was like, what am I in right now? And I'm like, you used to live here? He's like, yeah, I would bring people over and they'd be like, you live here? And then we just go in my room and it's just fighters on the wall. I'm like, that's
God.
hilarious.
Wow.
When I saw it, I was like, oh, that reminds me of this.
Yeah,
That's
that's so
crazy.
funny. I mean, it's not as bad as Jeffrey Dahmer's apartment, but
No, God, no. That was oof. I've yet to see the series though. I've
I
yet
probably
to.
won't watch it.
Yeah,
It's not my cup of tea. I don't
no,
watch that shit.
no, I don't. Why not? You're not just not into it, eh?
I'm into comedy. I want to
Yeah,
laugh. I just
Yeah,
want to
true.
like chill out and like why like I'm stressed as it is. Why would I want to stress about people killing each other?
Yeah, fair enough. That's kind
I don't
of
watch the news for that.
no.
It's like why flood myself with negative? Although I do love horror movies, but
Yeah, that's a different ball game though. Like this isn't based on, it's kind of, hey, here's
yeah,
something to be. It's more entertainment too
yeah.
versus yeah, all that. I'm like, I can't do it, man. I'll rewatch the same like dude, did you see Andrew Schultz's new like the
Oh,
specials
so
out?
good, so good.
Dude, so good.
Like
Oh
I
man.
love stand-up comedy. I
Yeah.
love everything about it. And so like yeah, dude, he's so good. Andrew Schultz, he's one of the best ones out. Dude, and I'm a big fan of Chris D'Elia.
Yeah, man.
Huge fan. Like
Yeah, man.
he's on my bucket list to go see. I saw Rogan live in
Yeah.
Detroit.
How was
He was
that?
a good time. He was a really good time.
Yeah.
And I think yeah, and then Andrew Santino opened for him too, which was really sick.
What? Damn,
And then
that's two
actually,
for one.
I recently just saw back in August. I saw um Louis C.K.
No way. That's
Dude,
sick.
that was probably one of the best I've seen.
Yeah.
Really good. Yeah, really good.
Jeez. Man, I think I want to see, I think it's Sebastian Maniscalco. I want to see him
Yeah,
live.
he's good.
Just because I like his style. I like what he talks about. Like I can relate. My father's the same way as his like
Yeah.
dad and him kind of are. So it's very,
Now,
very
are you Greek?
yeah, a bit Greek, a bit of Italian, bit of
Oh, okay, cool.
Scottish, Irish. Like that's my mom's like UK.
Yeah,
Dad's kind of
so
like
the
Central
Greek
Europe.
Italian is very yeah, like you'll resonate with Maniscalco. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
full
man.
Italian, so I love that shit.
Yeah, dude, it's you get it and you're like, oh, start a business at 8 years old. Okay, yeah, cool. So
Yeah,
yeah.
and just his mannerisms are so good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man, dude. It's just I can't get to like I'm funny with words, but I can't make the expressions pair. Like that's just a different
I
skill set
know,
altogether. I don't get it,
I
but
know. The skill,
different
man. It's a definite skill for sure.
so what skill did you over the kind of years develop that looking back you're like this has been the most important skill that I've learned?
Communication.
Yeah. In what
Yeah.
sense?
Um, communicating my message, communicating with clients and intent between what I expect of them, and you know, even just communicating sincerity, right? And just learning how to speak to people, right?
Hmm.
This is a entire business off of relationships. Look at you and I, right? Like I never met you in person, and
Never.
you just hit me up on DM, and now we're communicating. So like if I didn't sharpen my communication skills, I'd be a complete jackass on this podcast. You'd be like, man, this guy's an idiot. Like I don't ever want to have him on here again. And you're probably saying that right now, anyways, which is fine.
No,
Um,
dude, come on, not at all. Plus, it
so
doesn't
I'd say
matter
like
what I think. You're just
yeah.
doing you.
So like communication slash interpersonal relationship skills, just like learning how to be around people.
One amazing, man. And one thing, like to your point, to kind of add on that I noticed in like the 5-10 minutes of chatting that we did before I hit record here today was you asked me very like thought-provoking questions. You asked me like 3 questions, but there I was like, huh. And what I really enjoy about having people who have their own podcast on my show is they're so well, like they're so well spoken, they're very inquisitive, they ask, you understand how to ask thought-provoking questions, right? You wouldn't have X amount of shows of like Rebel Radio if you couldn't figure out how to ask good questions or at least tell a good story, right? Or get your thoughts like communicated, like you said.
Yeah.
So that's insane. And I think to that with like podcasting and all that, like contrasting, I think the biggest part I found with like communication has been like listening. I think that
Yeah.
as a skill is humongous. And the more I'm aware of that as like its own independent entity is the more I see people who don't listen well. And I'm like, and then I know I'm like, I'm going to repeat this to you tomorrow. And then I repeat it to them. And then I'm repeat it to them the next day. And I'm like, just listen one time before you drive me crazy.
How
Like
many
it's so
times have
important.
you been on a podcast interviewing somebody and your mind wanders and you're like,
Oh
fuck?
man.
And it's happened to me many times. Like,
Yeah.
especially early on, right? Because you're, especially when you have a little bit of insecurity in the beginning of your podcast, not knowing how to interview somebody, it's an ebb and flow. So you're
Yeah, it
always
is.
thinking of the next question. You're always thinking of like being reactive as opposed to just like absorbing what you're saying.
Yeah,
And
dude.
one thing that I really made a point of to do is just to be present and here
Hmm.
and now. I don't care what has to happen in an hour from now or what happened an hour before this. It's like I'm just
Hmm.
going to be here right now and see what comes of this, because this is all we have. And I've been trying to really practice the mindful present moment of shit,
Hmm.
because my brain goes a mile a minute
Yeah, dude.
down the fucking rabbit hole. So I'm trying to like really be here and like not looking at my studio lights, not looking at the camera. It's just like
What I
here.
found that is kind of an interesting skill set, a mentor friend of mine has kind of told me about developing a couple years ago, like 3 years ago, maybe. She was like, it's the ability to think of the next question while still listening to understand what they're saying. And I think in doing that and pairing it, be like, okay, if I know you're talking about skill acquisition, I know that eventually, because I prepared, I want to ask about the skill development. So I know that if and when it comes up, what's your, oh, this feels like the time to best flow this. I can do it. And it's kind of like our brains are weird, right? Because I feel we don't understand them, but there's a lot going on in the subconscious. And I'll store shit. Like I store the timeline of the episode in my head, but then my conscious is present. So I know I'm here, but a lot of shit's going on in the back. So it's being able to compartmentalize the two. And if you're able to compartmentalize those things, I've found over time it's been a lot easier. But I've had one moment, dude, like I think it was the last episode I did. This woman was the first person, she swam the Bering Strait in I believe
Okay.
the 70s, which is a piece of land from Alaska that separates Russia, right? So it was when it was Soviet Russia though. So and like
Sure.
she, yeah, so like ridiculous swim. She's done a bunch of these like first ever woman, first ever person to swim in like the first Arctic mile in Antarctica, like all these crazy feats. And I remember I just done a plunge with our mutual friend there, Patty. And I remember we went to Starbucks and I remember having, I think it's a Negro. I think
Okay.
that's the type of coffee, right?
Careful how you say that.
Yeah, I was like, yeah. So it's a large black coffee, but it's like
Yeah.
5 shots of espresso in it.
Yeah.
Because and me being me, I'm like, yeah, you know, Pat, like, yeah, you tell me it's before 1. So I cut my caffeine off after that, just for my sleep and like anxiety before bed. But what I'll do is I was like, dude, like, what do you recommend? Worst thing I could have asked the guy. He's like, yeah, get him this. And they only offer it in one size because any bigger is like too dangerous, the guy told us. I was
Wow.
like, whatever. I remember drinking it, and you can see how like jittery I got throughout the episode. I started out calm, relaxed, because I'm like, you know, I've done this literally 100 times. It's, you know, it's just talking to people. We do that every day. So, you know, it's no big deal. And then I'm like shaking in my chair. I'm like, everything needs to
Wow.
slow down. Oh
Especially when you can
man.
feel yourself tremble.
Yeah, dude. I was like, I feel my heart beating. My heart was like one continuous beat. I was like, that
Yeah.
can't be good.
Yeah.
So
Oh man.
yeah.
Yeah. I that was quite the tangent about the
Yeah.
Negro. Um, yeah. That's a little too much.
It's a little
No.
thick pronunciation, but
Yeah. No,
yeah,
but like
dude.
it's but like to go back to your point about like uh you know, like thinking about like in listening intently, like while you're
Mhm.
listening to me, you're storing other information into your brain. You're thinking about what else you got to do. Your heart's pumping, your kidneys are flowing, your body is
Yeah, man.
regulating its temperature. Like your nervous system is figuring out, are you cold? Are you hot? Like it's all within a matter of like milliseconds, and we have no idea what's going on. Like if we
Zero.
try to logically think through all the steps that our body has to take, it would be, dude, like it- the the equation or the algorithm to our system would be like how many pages long, right? So
Oh,
it's
endless.
it's an unreal. And to my point, we're here, we're now. Like, why not just fucking live your life the way you
Hmm.
want it?
Yeah, man. And it just allows you to doing that and living it that way. And the way that you're preaching is very, very, I know it's important. I think it's very important to get out there. And I think that allows us just to connect better. right? It's
Yeah.
just like you're a bit more free, you're more open-minded, you're able to connect with people better and not and just, I'll be myself. And then if people don't like it, they don't like it. Or if they do like it, they're like, oh, check out what he's doing, oh, follow him, oh, see what he's doing. Oh, I like what he's doing. Like I gravitate towards people who I can clearly tell that is who the fuck they are.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it was with you. It's what it is with like other friends of mine, other guests I've had on. Like if I know I'm like, oh, they're just a sweet person trying to do their thing, trying to make the most of like either a shitty or a good situation or whatnot, right? And like here are the cards I've been dealt. This is what I'm doing with them. This is how they play. And I think I've been able to shut off many people they come across as like they're playing somebody all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And it chaps my ass. I can't deal with it.
I know.
I don't know how they can manage or how they have the brain power, but I get exhausted. It's hard enough being yourself. Try being somebody else. Like you said earlier, right? You're like, man, I got to like get in a character now. I didn't know I was acting in front of the camera for three and a
It'd be
half
awful.
hours. Yeah, man, it'd be so tough.
And that's when I also realized that, oh, it's just a camera. Like I remember back in the day when I first started the podcast, like with Full Depth Podcast.
Yeah, man.
And even if I had to do like promo videos for my gym, it would be like difficult to even speak on a microphone or in front of the camera
Like intimidating.
because I feel like I had to be this like charismatic, but I'm just like, no, man, like let me just talk.
Mm-hmm.
And now the camera to me is like my best friend because I have nobody else in front of me, right? But like to your point, the reason why I got rid of a lot of the stuff that I had, so whether it was my gym and all that stuff, is because I crave connection and relationships. And all we really have is connection with people. Like think of a time when you felt really good. It was most likely when there was people that you loved around you.
Yeah.
And
More
Stu Locke said this yesterday on my podcast because we had a kind of similar conversation of this. It's like life is meant to be shared.
Absolutely,
That
man.
you love, and it's like, what's the meaning of life? I don't know, but at least that's probably part of it.
Oh, it must be. And I've talked about that in the past, like way back. And it's similar as I think there are two main reasons. I think it was this buddy of mine. I can't remember exactly who, so I'm not going to give any random name, but I remember him telling me he did like an Ojibwe circle or something, like a drum circle. And I remember him talking to like the leader of this like reserve and this cultural group. Anyways, they were talking about this idea behind like the reason for like why, like what the purpose of life is, right? And their whole like ideology was between growth and human connection, whereas like everything that's put into the planet grows, right? It's like we grow our business, we grow our this, we grow our that, we grow connections, we grow with each other, we grow ourselves. And I think doing that's very, 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 very important. And it's underrated, but it's something we got to do more of.
Well, like 1000%. And think of it this way. So like the whole drum circle thing, right? Like when you're drumming in sync with a group of people, there's a certain vibration, a certain frequency. There's if you look at even all the cathedrals in old Europe, there's a reason why they're built like they are, because when there is song and chant in those cathedrals with high ceilings, the frequency, the vibration is so high. And what do you think healing is? What do you think praying is? It's the ability to zero in on that frequency that you feel deep down in your guts, in your feels. And so when I say like, hey, like I just want good vibes and I want my clothing, my streetwear or what I post or my programs to give people good vibes so that they can go live their lives, because it's got a healing property. When you have, like, I'm paralleling a lot of stuff here, but like when you can just raise the frequency and the vibration without sounding too like woo woo about the shit, because I kind of have my own thoughts of how dumb that kind of sounds, but like if you can, but just from like an intrinsic nervous system standpoint, our nervous system feels vibration and frequency, whether it's in church at a cathedral with song and chant where everybody's in sync, or if you're in a drum circle, or if you're dancing.
Mm-hmm.
right? Like whether it's like ceremonial dancing, it's all to raise the vibration, and your nervous system feels that. And I'm pretty sure your nervous system can also feel negative vibrations and frequency that probably gives you negative thoughts. So it's like we pick and choose. Do we want to have negative vibrations? Do we want positive vibrations? Your choice.
Whoa.
I'm not even high for
Yeah.
this, dude. I'm not even fucking high, and I should have.
Oh, imagine now one day in person. In person,
Oh
that'd
man,
be epic.
absolutely. So like
Yeah.
that's and that's why like even when people ask me, what my goals are, and even my mom's like, because my parents are old school Italian, they want me to
Oh, yeah.
have like a work at Chrysler, get a job, and get married and have 10 kids.
Sure.
And so like it's like no, I want to connect with people. In this past year,
Yeah.
I've met some really cool people that weren't from Windsor. They were from like all over the world,
Amazing.
states, whatever. And it's like, man, these people are really cool people, and I'm stuck here in Windsor. What the fuck? Why do I have to accept to be in Windsor? Like, why am I like? There's more to life than what your surrounding is. And if you're in a shit space, if you're in a negative space, you can always get out of it. I know it seems
Always, yeah.
insurmountable. I know it seems like it's frustrating. You can't get out of it, but you can always do something different. Take
Mm-hmm.
that next step, do something different, take a different path. Like honestly, for me, if I'm ever in a funk, I will literally go to a different coffee shop. I will take a different route. I'll go to a different gym. I'll just change my environment completely
It's
because
huge.
it'll shift your nervous system. It's huge.
Wow. Yeah, man. It's the way of getting unstuck in your, like, if you're in a rut or what you can do. And yeah, man, I've changed up my routine on some stuff. Every couple of months I switch it up. Like I'll
Mhm.
just train on different days, or I'll go to different classes, or I'll make more of an effort to hang out with some friends versus others, right? Just little things. There's like, oh, I'll go see this movie versus never seeing them. Or
Yeah.
yeah, man, just changing things up, right? I think that's so underrated. And to kind of the point you made at the beginning of that, there's what I tell people is I'm like, when they're like, man, I'm like, they don't enjoy what they're in. And they're like, they look at this big astronomical feat, right? Of how to get out of this pit, we'll call it this metaphorical pit that they live in. And I always tell them, like, the deeper in the pit you get, the harder it is to climb out, or the longer it'll take to climb out, right? So, and I found that with like older couples who are married. It's like they're
Hmm.
like, oh, I'm like, you're 30 years in. You've been married as many years as you have years left. Like, it just doesn't connect. It's like, oh, just change it up. And they're like, oh, it's not that easy. I'm like, no, it's not easy, but it is that simple. But people want this like crazy step by step. I'm like, well, you have to be willing to take the first one. So
Yeah.
get
Yeah, and that's
unstuck.
and that's all you have to set your eyes to is just
Yeah,
that first
man.
step, not the
Mhm.
end result, not the outcome. So, yeah, it's funny, right? Because I'm gonna parallel this to a video that I was watching the other day about. I'm sure you know who Jordan Peterson is, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And he was actually on the Lex Friedman podcast.
Oh, cool.
Um, I'm not sure if you know him, and
Yeah.
so like I'll periodically watch that episode. And so on this episode, Lex asked him like there was a relationship question about like how to attract the woman of your dreams, whatever.
Okay.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
Jordan Peterson was like, "That's such a tough question to answer, and that's not the right question to ask. The question you should ask is, what type of boyfriend do I need to be for the
Whoa.
woman of my dreams? I need to be physically fit, healthy. I
Hmm.
need to be productive, meaning, have a supportive job, whatever it is, right? So he listed some stuff out, right? So it's like, if I want to grow Common into a global brand,
Hmm.
instead of waiting for this quote unquote woman of my dreams to appear, which is Common,
Sure.
who do I need to be as a business owner so that Common can be the global brand that it's going to be?
Yeah.
So it's like I'm trying to reframe, like, what do I need to become so that Common becomes global? And so I've tried to parallel a lot of stuff that I've been listening, and I'm very introspective as of late, which is really
Hmm.
cool because it allows me to, because it influences how I talk to clients now and members and
Oh, I
people that,
bet.
so it's been cool.
Oh, that's awesome. Now, over the years, I'm sure you've gone through and you've learned a lot of lessons or received a bunch of wisdom pieces of advice or anything. But what is a lesson or a piece of advice that you've received in your life that's kind of stood the test of time? It could be something you learned when you're younger or something that's just applicable for every day, but something that's kind of stood the test of time.
Oh man, it's a hard question. With all my introspection, I can't even think of this one. Um, I don't know, man. Like probably just like work hard,
Yeah.
right? Like I've been instilled with that, like with my family for so long, and even if I didn't work as hard as I should have in university and in school, and I was always kind of taught that,
Mm-hmm.
even though I never understood why my parents would tell me that. So I guess now, like now it's like, well, now that I have something that I absolutely love, now I'm willing to work hard for it. So I guess that's something that like has always been along with me, is just when in doubt, work hard.
I like that a lot. I think it's yeah, man. It's simple, it's clean, it's gets the point across,
Yeah, like I
you
wish I had
know.
something that was more of a soundbite, but
No worries. I'm sure you'll like text it to me after if there is. If
yeah.
it's
I mean,
just
it
a
even
small
says it
thing or
here, like
voice
work hard,
text.
stay humble.
Yeah.
Where is it? Right
I
here.
was looking at that too. I was like, perfect. Fits right in.
Yeah.
Do you have kind of pairing off that as we kind of end the show? It's getting dark. As we kind of end or take a like walk to the end of the show, do you have any like last kind of pieces of like advice or wisdom or or things you want to share, in like a lesson you want to share? Not so much one that you learned, but more one that you're like, if somebody, fill in the blank, if somebody just did this, they could get that much closer to everything they want
Yeah,
or a better
man.
life, right?
Um, put aside all of your constraints, all your self-limiting beliefs, all of the things that you were told growing up. Get rid of that energy into your brain. You get rid of those stories that you tell yourself. Um, and don't be afraid to be yourself, and you'll see things open up. You're also going to see a lot of heartache in that, because
Mm,
the people that are in your life that don't see you for who you are probably not going to accept that. And so like it's not going to be an easy way to enter into like a new life that you want, or something that you want to really achieve, but
right.
it's going to open up at least yourself to being who you genuinely are, and then those that want to be around you are going to be around you, and chances are those that want to be around you are the same people that you want around you,
Mm-hmm.
and that you're going to want to be around. So don't just like, yeah, get rid of all the social things that you've created about yourself, all your limiting beliefs, all of the stories you tell yourself as to why you can't do it. Get rid of that and just put your best foot forward.
I love it, man. That's awesome. Yeah, well said. So I'm gonna roll out the red carpet for you. Where can people find you? Where can people watch you? Where can people listen to you?
Yeah, so if so like I'm pretty much on Instagram. They can find me at common_original. Common is spelled COMMXN_original. If they want to know more about like my streetwear, my Rebel series, all my programs and stuff, common.com. They can listen to me on Spotify, on Rebel Radio, and that's a weekly podcast. I think that's about it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Right on, dude. I'm super grateful you're able to chat with me today and I can get to know kind of your story. And yeah, man, I'm really stoked for the next time we get to do this in person and
Hell yeah.
have a good vibe, set a good tone. And yeah, man, I'm looking forward to kind of being witness to everything you're doing and I'm grateful I get to see the growth and I'm looking forward to what you do next, man. So thanks for connecting back with me.
Yeah, man. Hey, I appreciate you having me on, and I appreciate you. It's been a good chat. I love it,
Right
man.
on,
Thank you.
brother.